Okay, so today I'm going to talk about balancing the genders, kind of a continuation of a conversation I've been having on my channel. And I would suggest that contemplating this theme of balancing the genders could very well change your life or lead to a breakthrough in your life if you've been stuck in a pattern, if you've been perhaps misinterpreting spiritual teachings, right, to leave you more identified with female energy or male energy, right? That would look like, if you are more identified with male energy, that would be like remaining as the witness, right? Which can turn into inaction. If it's identified with the female, it can be overly identified with energy, right? Lost in the process of processing emotional energy, lost in the emotional energy, right? So if we have the perfect balance of male and female, then we are present with what is, but we also are available to the impulses to move forward, right? The impulses to focus, the impulse to create. Because since we are the universe, right, and the universe is androgynous as both being the womb of creation and the creative principle, if we embody that balance of male and female, we are in alignment with the universe, right? And what it looks like can vary from individual to individual. And it can vary depending on what phase of your life you are in, because you might be in a phase of your life where you're really contemplating the female principle, right? The womb of creation, just being, right? You might be processing a lot of emotional energy, right? You might be letting go of the past and you might be releasing a lot of emotions from your system, right? You might not be in a creative mode, right? You might be in an ebb cycle of your life, right? So it also depends on what cycle you are in your life. But really, right, being in balance, having these energies in balance literally puts you in alignment with your true nature, which is the universe itself. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what unhealthy male and female looks like, what it looks like to be stuck in one or the other, and how to go beyond that, right? How to get back into balance. So I've said before, right, and many people have said this, that really what leads to suffering is identification. So if I'm identified as the body, the mind, right, the separate doer, then that creates suffering. If I'm identified only as the void, right, only as being, then that can also create suffering, because I might be unavailable to impulses to act, impulses to create. That might be an energy of creation coming through me that I called from my own life experience, and I'm calling that energy, and I am repressing the impulse to act because I have interpreted just being to mean stillness and just in a receiving mode. But of course, the point of being in a receiving mode is to receive something, right? An impulse to act, a thought. So identification creates suffering. So if I'm identified with the body, right, that creates suffering because I feel like I'm separate from life, separate from God, separate from infinite intelligence, separate from love, separate from others. Of course, that's obvious how that creates suffering. If I'm identified as the emotions, right, I get lost in emotional energy. That's unconscious female. I get lost, right? Many empaths deal with this phenomenon. They tend to get lost in sensation, right? Without the male energy, without the focus, without the ability to move forward, to remain centered within their own feeling of themselves and not pick up every single vibration in the universe, right? So you could be identified with energy, right? You can be feeling so much in your environment that you get lost in whirlpools of sensation in your environment. You could be identified as the witness, right? Witnessing your life, right? From back here, just watching it all play out, watching it all unfold. Except what you're watching unfold is your childhood conditioning, right? That must be felt, must be experienced, right? In order for it to complete itself. And so the witness can really perpetuate an ego that tends to dissociate, right? And then being only identified with the female principle or the unmanifest or the unborn ultimately will cause imbalance in your life as well, because the truth is that you're all of these things. You are the whole process of life. You are the unmanifest. You are the impulse of creation, the creative principle, which in the psychological structure, it It looks like intention, right? The desire, right? Something coming through you, right? Life as you, through you, expressing, right? So what does it look like to be stuck in unconscious female? Well, I've explained this quite in depth in other videos, but just as a refresher, being stuck in unconscious female energy looks like, it can look like a number of things. It could look like being stuck in a shadow archetype, like the savior or the martyr, right? Sacrificing myself. Why is that unhealthy female? Because it's an addiction to addiction. It's an addiction to an identity without the healthy male wisdom to move you forward, right? If you are in a savior shadow archetype, first of all, know very emphatically that you cannot save anybody. You cannot save anybody. It's everybody's, the only thing that ever saves anyone is their own desire. You can be there to be a container, to support them, to love them. But if you're in an identity, a shadow archetype of the savior, you're going to go into savior mode, and it's going to feel stressful. And the net impact for you is that it will drain your energy. Okay. Another shadow archetype is, the martyr, right? Sacrificing yourself. Everybody else's desires, right? Desire the creative principle. Everybody else's desires are more important than mine. Well, what's the antidote to that? Well, first of all, let's consider how crazy that is. If every single unit of consciousness is calling desire and expressing it, for you to simply go along with the flow of other people's desires, that's insanity, because you have your own stream of desire streaming through you. And so you are sacrificing yourself. You are sacrificing your own stream of creative energy in order to be part of somebody else's, where that will never be satisfying, because you can only be satisfied when you are self-realized. And part of being self-realized is being yourself, as being tuned into what matters to me. Sorry. So unconscious female energy, right? It can be a savior. It can be a martyr. In general, unconscious female energy is identified with sensation. So an empath, right? That's lost in the energy. Lost in the energy. You hear a lot of astrological forecasts, and the general report is things are really intense, right? Which is true. There's lots of intensity going on. We are living in an intense period of time. But if there's a constant feeling of being bombarded by your environment, you lack healthy male energy, right? What does healthy male energy look like? If you're always lost in sensation, focus, applying what you know in spirituality, tuning into frequencies, using your mind to focus, right? Being and becoming, right? So becoming means what am I inspired to do to evolve? Is it focusing my mind? Is it using my mind to explore science? Is it meditation? What does it mean for you? Because you're both being and becoming. And don't compare yourself or impose an image upon yourself of what it means to be spiritual, because that's nonsense. Eckhart and Adya and Ramana Maharshi and Jesus and all of the self-realized beings are each unique, as are you, right? So if you're lost in sensation, and if you're chronically lost in sensation, if you're lost, right, a very typical trickster energy, and trickster energy is the way that I use it. It's a part of your own mind that seduces you back into low energy. It tricks you into staying sad, nostalgic, confused. Right? The truth is that you're never really confused. You always know deep down what your values are, who you are as an individual manifestation of the Godhead. You know who you are, you know what you want, right? You know you have a sense of sureness, right, inside of you. So this confusion is a trick, right? It's very typical for people who are very caring to get lost in guilt, right? Oh, if you have the tendency to remain in guilt and shame, call those tendencies out for what they are. They're just tricksters, right? They're just personality addictions. They're just they're just like old selves that are actually trying to teach you to cultivate a quality. What is guilt trying to teach you, right? This is the healthy male inquiry, right? If I'm stuck in guilt and shame and addiction, what is it trying to teach me? It's trying to teach me self-love, which is a female quality. It's trying to teach me conviction, which is a male quality. It's trying to teach me to focus my mind, right? It's trying to teach me to radiate myself into this reality instead of picking up all the vibrations, instead of only being in the receiving mode, only receiving, only feeling what's in your environment, right? That's only half of the equation. Receiving is only the female half. You're also supposed to radiate yourself into the world. So, if you ask any person that's ever overcome an addiction, the first step is always to make a decision. Boom, I'm done. I'm going to figure it out. No matter what it is, I'm going to figure it out. It's that healthy male. If you're stuck in a pool of feeling, you need the healthy male energy in you. You need conviction, decision, intention. You need that linear quality, that arrow, right? To move you out of the pool of emotion that you're in. So it's really helpful in order to get yourself out of unconscious female energy, to call out by name your typical distractions, right? Am I distracted by getting involved in petty dramas? Am I distracted by caring too much about someone who was rude to me last week, or someone who had a negative thought or feeling about me? Especially if you're an empath and you can really feel like the way people are relating to you, like, there has to be a discipline of healthy male energy to not take it personally. Don't take it personally. Right? Let it go. Have the decision to let it go. What distracts you? Does social media distract you? Right? If it distracts you, if your mind gets distracted by chatter having to do with, let's say, validating your existence, arguing with people, what is that chatter trying to teach you? Let's get online the healthy male energy of wisdom and inquiry. Boom. What is it trying to teach me? Well, maybe it's trying to teach me to focus. Maybe it's trying to teach me to put my attention elsewhere, maybe in my heart instead of having all of my awareness in my head. Maybe I should actually begin to apply what I've learned from all the greats, from all the books, from all the YouTube videos, right? That's the healthy male. The female will passively listen to teachings for eternity. The unhealthy female, right? And so you need the healthy male to actually apply what you know. Where are you putting your attention? Are you focusing? Are you focusing your attention on your heart, on your lower belly? Are you taking deliberate breaths? Are you modulating your energy in the ways that you've learned? Right? This is using wisdom and love together. Love and wisdom. The divine female is love, unconditional love and compassion for ourselves, right? So when we bring our healthy male online, right, this arrow-like quality, this focused quality, this laser beam quality, it doesn't mean that we're being mean to ourselves. It just means like this is who we are. We're both unconditional love, and we have the ability to be laser beam focused. I can tell you very surely that I've met many masters, teachers, and the ones who I consider true masters it's like they're both boundaryless and they have boundaries of iron, right? If you ask, I remember Eckhart Tolle saying that his publisher tells him that he has a deadline for something he's writing, and he just laughs. He's like, I know I'll do it when I want to do it, right? See, things seem to work out for him, right? But the unconscious female worries, well, it feels like it's in bondage. Well, what if I don't do what they tell me to do? Right? Well, that part of you doesn't feel free. It doesn't feel free. It needs that male quality of conviction, like, wait a minute, I'm free. I'm free. I can make decisions. I can live in a way that's comfortable and in harmony with me as an individual, and it will work for me because I am God just like everything else, and I am entitled. I have the toolkit, the infinite intelligence. I have the ability to thrive as being myself, right? A sense of conviction. So unhealthy female energy, it can look like a savior. It can look like a martyr. It can look like an addiction to addiction, right? The part of you, you've experienced something painful, and part of you actually is seducing you back into it. by playing the sad music, by watching the sad movies, right? It's like, you've learned that everything is vibration, and what you tune into does calibrate your instrument. And so if you're trying to move forward, which is healthy male energy, and healthy male energy, if the universe wasn't composed of also, in addition to love and being and perfect being, if it wasn't also becoming an intention, nothing would ever evolve. No species would ever evolve, right? So if you are life itself and having both of these properties of the male properties and the female properties, right? Ask yourself, where am I in balance, right? You might be too much on the male side. You might be trying too hard. You might be driving your energy, but I'll give you a clue. If one of these is out of balance, they're both out of balance. It's like a law. And what's interesting is that if you heal one, the other one tends to fall into line automatically. But yeah, if one is out of balance, they're both out of balance. And it's interesting that this hermetic law of balancing the genders, it corresponds to the crown chakra. Because if we're no longer being distracted by emotional energy, by petty emotional drama, by sensation, by being overwhelmed with the vibrations of our environment, if we're not like too much on the left, right, too much, on the unconscious female side, and we're not too much on the right, which is thinking I'm separate from life, being unaware of the whole, unaware of my body, unaware of my emotions, unaware, right? When we're no longer polarized, so extremely polarized, now we can see life as it is, right? And we can just simply and plainly acknowledge something and take appropriate actions. You can't see things for what they are if you are tangled in these poles, right? And what I've seen in spirituality is that there's a tendency, in metaphysics, there's a tendency to try too hard, right? Focus. When the truth is that if you were to just notice that most of your thoughts and feelings are lackful thoughts and feelings, like 99% of them, because that's your survival brain. If you were to just shoot for 51%, right? Bring it into balance. Start being a little bit more deliberate about what you tune into. Stop letting your mind wander into nonsense all day. Stop letting pettiness distract you. Stop tuning into things that don't feel good to you. Stop hanging out with people that honestly don't feel good to you. Start making more decisions. Start directing your attention just a little bit more. And throughout the day, right, be grateful a little bit more. You do have the ability to tune into your higher self, right, which I showed you in another video. It's very simple. And simply feel love. Feel love. Wake up. Realize, like, oh my God, I can feel love. And just do it a little bit more than you're doing it. Because the tendency, again, is to listen to all the teachings and never apply them. So, unhealthy female, right? It can look like a variety of shadow archetypes. It can look like a victim. One of the ones that Carolyn Mace talks about is the prostitute. Are you selling your soul? Are you deciding to do things that don't feel right to you? If you are doing that, then part of your mind doesn't feel free. If you can't say no, if you can't trust the universe and say no to things that feel off to you, if you can't turn down clients or business that feel shady to you, if you can't say no to being part of a group that feels shady to you, but you really want to, it's because part of you doesn't feel free, which is the addiction to bondage, which is a kind of unconscious female energy. So how do you evolve that? Well, you realize, like, I'm free. Start making decisions. No, I'm not going to go out and drink alcohol. I don't like alcohol. No, I'm not going to smoke bufo at that spiritual retreat because it doesn't feel like it's in alignment for me. No, I'm not going to go to dinner with these people. I don't like eating at 9 p.m., right? That's when I like to go inward and maybe spend time outside or with my dog, right? Start honoring yourself, the realization that you are just as important and that your perspective as the unique individual that you are is just as inherently valuable as any other perspective in the universe is very healing. It brings your divine male energy online. So if you're in unconscious male energy, right, you ignore your body, you ignore your emotions, you refuse to feel your emotions, which, by the way, is very draining. So that's ironic, because your unhealthy male is trying to avoid emotions like the plague. Blah, blah, let's just keep going, let's just keep going. Meanwhile, the fact that you're not stopping and feeling and processing emotional energy, it's just going to get worse. And then you're going to burn out even more. And then the male is going to try harder. It's a vicious cycle. So it's like the male has this idea, I'll do whatever it takes to succeed. And that is the exact belief that actually drains the shit out of you. Because you believe that, because part of you believes that, I'll do whatever it takes to succeed. And you don't stop and you don't stop. And that means, right, to the unconscious male, stopping and feeling your emotions, that'll slow me down. But actually, it's the opposite, because not feeling your emotions is what slows you down, because the unconscious, the pain body gets louder, and resisting it results in greater consequences. So actually learning to feel your emotions, right? So if you're an unconscious male, medicine is conscious female energy. So the presence to unconditionally accept everything that's arising in you. And it's funny, because that actually gives you more bandwidth. That actually gives you more actual ability to focus, instead of being on a hamster wheel guided by unconscious male energy that thinks it's striving for success, but actually the net result of it is to dramatically drain your system. So unconscious male energy, right, it's victory oriented, it's future oriented, it won't stop, it'll do whatever it takes. And so what this part needs is acknowledgement and love. Like, it's okay, I see what you're doing for me, I see how hard you work for me to help me survive. Like, it's really, I do appreciate it. Like, think of any either biological males or people in their male energy. Maybe you're in a relationship where one of you is more of the breadwinner, like whether it's you or your partner. Have you realized that, like, maybe the one that is in the world more, working more, like maybe they just want a little recognition? This is the medicine for the unhealthy male. Just a little recognition, like, oh gosh, like I appreciate what you do for me. But see, what's ironic is that when you give it the love and the appreciation, it actually slows down and turns towards the female and is like, thank you, let's work together. I'm going to get off of my rocket ship of achievement and striving, and I'm going to listen to you, creatrix. And she's like, oh my God, I'm going to listen to you, stability and direction. What can we do together? What can we do together? Well, in your personality, what that looks like when you're no longer in one extreme or the other. And clue, if you're in one extreme, you're in both, right? A lot of times people that are stuck in addictions, right, which is unconscious female, their male energy is very, very harsh. It's like if you were to personify it, like when I did this certain process and I personified it, I visualized my unconscious male energy. It was like a man sharpening a saw. Tunnel vision, tunnel vision, tunnel vision, tunnel vision. You need to get to the end. You need to succeed, right? And a very good clue about the relationship between your male and female energy is the relationship between your mother and father, right? And you could say they caused it, or you could say you manifested them because it was already in you. Whatever's helpful to you, right? But that's a clue as to the relationship between your mother and father. So for me, for example, one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about teaching this is because mine were very much not communicating at all. This energy was addicted to addiction. She believed she was a helpless empath that had no ability. My nervous system is too delicate to process my intense emotions. That's a lie. And that might trigger the shit out of some people, but it's a lie. It's actually that belief, the belief that I'm too sensitive. That's actually what doesn't allow your nervous system to metabolize emotions. Our bodies are wired for God. We are wired for Kundalini energy. We are wired for electricity. We are wired to be able to go into higher dimensions. We are wired for a lot of energy that our nervous system is more than able to withstand. Trust me, I know. But what messes up the nervous system is our beliefs that we're victims, right? So what I learned I would go into an unconscious female energy of dissociation. Right? I would get overwhelmed by sensation, and I would check out, and then my body would go on autopilot and do destructive things like binge eat. And what I realized, one of my biggest realizations was, oh my God, it's the belief. It's the belief that I can't handle something that actually keeps me out of my body. It's not the intelligence of my nervous system. So, and take or leave anything I say. You have to be your own healer. You have to be your own physician. You have to be your own mystic. Don't believe anything that anybody says. I'm just sharing a perspective, like, for whatever it's worth, take it or leave it. But balancing the genders is huge. It's huge. It's related to the crown chakra because it allows us to experience ourselves as a perfected soul, as Christ consciousness, as you are not only love. Let's talk about the divine qualities. You're not only unconditional love, you are also wisdom. You are not only love, you are also a mind. The whole universe is a mind made of love. I wish I could make these like spin around. You are a mind made of love. You are a loving mind. That's what the universe, that's what you are. So if you try to be only unconditional love in the female sense, without the wisdom and the direction of the male, without applying those spiritual teachings, without focusing your mind, or if you try too hard to focus, right, which a lot of students of metaphysics do, they try way too hard and they end up in that same egoic, stressful energy, that same unconscious male energy. It's a dance, right? It's a dance between the female and the male qualities. So contemplate this concept. Ask yourself, ask your higher self, how can I bring these into balance within me? What would be a key for me right now? What would be a key for me right now? How can I balance the genders and therefore literally be the universe itself, which is an androgynous being, which is being and becoming, which is male and female, which is perfection and evolution, which is, and beyond that, which is the unborn and the manifested, which is death and birth, which is gestation and expression. Do you resist your ebb cycles? Do you resist gestational periods? That's a big mistake, right? And it's hard, it's understandable that many people do that. But in your everyday life, notice this rhythm, this kind of rhythmic reality, right? That we are male and female. Life is male and female, right? There's time for rest and regeneration, and there's time for expression. There's time for things to die and things to get reorganized and things to express again. And the universe is holographic. This is evident in every aspect of your life. In your relationships, are you not only not controlling people, letting them be as they are, loving them unconditionally as they are, but also speaking your truth? In your business, right? Are you allowing everything to be as it is, right? But are you also offering your perspective, right? The universe is holographic. These principles should be balanced in every aspect of our lives. So that's my message for today. I hope you have a beautiful day.